Hello class, today I will be talking about Nmap and Zenmap. Topics that will be discussed: what is Nmap and Zenmap and what are their differences? How to initiate a network scan? Show what different type of network scans Nmap and Zenmap provide. What are the most common network protocols and what they mean in Nmap and Zenmap? Demonstrate how to read a network scan result and what it means for your network. Discuss how Nmap and Zenmap can be used ethically and how hackers or intruders can take advantage of the capabilities of Nmap and Zenmap. What is Nmap and Zenmap? Nmap and Zenmap are applications used to scan a network for vulnerabilities or potential threats. They essentially perform the same function. The difference between the two is that Zenmap provides a GUI while Nmap is usually used on the command line. Both applications use different types of scans, but ultimately come to the same results or conclusion. Zenmap is usually used by people who are new to the cyber field or who want a graphical interface to look at. Nmap is usually used by more advanced users who feel comfortable using the command line. The image on the right is Zenmap, and the image on the left is Nmap used on the Linux VM. So as we can see, Nmap is opened on the Linux VM. It says starting Nmap 7.12, so I'm assuming that's the version of Nmap. And they just completed a ping scan. And I believe the report should be that there weren't any hosts up. And this is Zenmap. So once you open the application, this is what comes up. You need to fill in the target IP address or the website that you want to scan, the type of profile, which is the type of scan, and all of the output comes up on over here. It tells you the output, the ports, host, topology, host details, and scans, and the type of operating system they're using, if applicable. When using Nmap or Zenmap, you must have permission to scan the network. This is really essential since many networks are private and network administrators don't want you on your network probing or scanning their network. Since many intruders and hackers does this, so they'll think that you're one of them. So it's really important that you get permission. Luckily for me, I found this website, scanme.nmap.org, and they provide a machine that lets me scan it, and they provide really good results. Right now, I'm gonna provide a demonstration, and then later on, I'm gonna go step by step on what I did. So right now, I'm gonna open Nmap. So this is the command line on Windows, and to open Nmap, you just type in the application name, and then you type in the website or the IP address that you want to scan. So I believe it's scanme.nmap.org. So as we can see, the results came back within seconds, and it gives you the IP address for nmap.org, the scanme.nmap.org, and which is 45.33.32.156. And as we can see, the ports that are open are TCP port 22. It's open. Excuse me. The secure shell is open. The HTTP port, which is port 80, is open. It's filtered, but it's usually open. The nping.echo/echo is open. which is on port 9929, which is a TC port, and the Elite port is open as well. Now I'm going to go to ZenMap to scan the network again. So I would put in the same website, scanme.nmap.org. And right now I usually do an intent scan, but I'll go all over these in the later slides. And press scan. This might take a while since it's an intense scan and these usually are comprehensive. So as we can see, the scan is complete and it shows that 4 ports are open, which is right here, which are the ones that we saw earlier. HTTP, SSH, and ping/echo. And I believe this is the Elite one that we saw earlier. A cool thing about ZenMap that it tells you the type of version the server or the machine is on. Um, Another cool thing is that it tells you about the host status. There are 3 open ports. Closed ports are 996, and it scanned 1,000 ports. If we scroll down a little more, we can see the ports that are open and the device type, the one that's running on, which is a Linux, a version 5.4, I believe, yes, 5.4, between 5 and 5.4. And it's been up for 40 days apparently. And the network distance, it's usually 11 hops between this VM and to their server. Now I'm going to show you how to initiate a scan on ZenMap and Nmap. So first I'm going to go to Nmap. So to initiate a scan, you would put in on Nmap, you put in on the command line Nmap for the application. And the website that you want or the IP address, scanme.nmap.org. And that's pretty much it. It's really simple. And if you want to scan a specific port, you just put in the parameter P, and in this case 80 for HTTP. And as we can see, port 80 is open. But in this case, we want to scan the whole network. So nmap scan me nmap.org. And that is essentially how you initiate a scan on Nmap. And ZenMap, it's pretty much the same thing. You just put in the website or the IP address in the target field. So scanme.nmap.org. And that's pretty much it. Reading results from Nmap and ZenMap. Well, now that we scan the networks, what does this all mean? Well, for a network administrator, this could mean many things, many problems. If they have specific ports that are open, they can present problems for them since intruders or hackers could get in through them. So they might want to close the ports that are not in use. Again, you must have permission to scan a network. Commonly used types of scans on ZenMap. On ZenMap, there are many types of scans you can perform on a network. I will briefly go over them one by one and demonstrate it on a network. The intent scan on ZenMap. This scan usually reveals a lot of information on the target network. Information such as versions of the services the network is running on and any operating systems connected to it can be revealed in this scan. It can usually take a while for the results to come in since it's a very complex scan. Sometimes this information can be enough for an intruder or hacker to get into the network, thus it is important for the security practitioner on the network target to limit information about the network. So we already did an intent scan earlier, so I will skip on this one. The intent scan plus UDP, all TC ports, no ping. Intent scan plus UDP is essentially the same as a regular scan, except it is also scanning UDP ports. So I'm going to go to ZenMap just to demonstrate. This might take a bit. It's initiating UDP scan at 21:31. As you can see, it's taking quite a bit since only 6%, about 6% done. But so far, um, yes, this might take up quite a bit. So far there's been a few ports discovered, which is the same ones that we saw earlier. The port 22, port 80, the port 9929, the port 31,337 are open. It's been quite a few minutes and this scan is still going. It is at 36.57%. I think I will skip this one for now and come back to it later. The next type of scan is the intense scan plus OTCP ports. We'll scan all the 65,535 ports of the network, which is a very comprehensive scan, since just using the intense scan will only scan about 1,000 ports. So if we go back, maybe use it all TCP ports. So hopefully this one doesn't take long. So it's scanning scanme.nmap.org with an IP address of 45.33.32.156, and it's scanning all of the 65,535 ports. This one's going a little quicker since that's already at 25%, about to be 25%. So if we wait a while, maybe it can show us the results. This is what I have so far, which we saw earlier, which is the 31,337 TCP port, which is open, and the 9,929 TCP port open, and the HTTP port, which is a port 80, HTTP protocol actually, sorry, and the SSH protocol, which has a port 22, is open. So let's scan, it's already at 53%. The host details, we saw this earlier, but I believe it has the same results as earlier as well. Um, so the scan is complete. Um, and it's pretty much the same results that we saw earlier. The forward ports are open, but this scan just scanned all of the TCP ports instead of just 1,000 ports that we saw earlier. As you can see from the first scan, 1,000 total ports. This is still the same scan, but it's within the scan. And at the end, it is, I believe, where did I see it? Um, there was somewhere that it says 65,325 ports, but I guess I lost it. So going back, the intent scan ping assumes a host is available in the target network. Thus, there is no need to use a ping command to check if a host is available in the IP address. Sometimes security practitioners will turn off the ability of a network to receive ping commands from an outside user so their network won't get checked out by potential intruders. It's essentially the same scan and it will perform the same results. So I will skip on that one as well. Save time. Types of scans on ZenMap. Ping scan. Regulars. Ping scans are usually done by us to see if our machine can connect to other networks or websites. It can also serve as a diagnostic tool to see if our network is down or if our machine is down. ZenMap ping scans usually scan a network to see what hosts are live on that network. So a usual ping scan performed, let's say on google.com, um, and we have all the packets came back. So this means that my network is okay. This is just a regular ping scan. A scan on ZenMap or Nmap it's a little different, which I should demonstrate. Um, ping scan. So we'll get the results back, and it essentially says that a host is up on that IP address from the scammy.nmap.org. Types of scans on Nmap. So these are like the parameters, the type of scans they can perform on Nmap. And they're essentially the same as ZenMap, but in this case, you're just using the command line. I'm going to demonstrate the first one, the TCP SYN connect. So Nmap SS scan me nmap.org. Pretty much it's the same thing, the same results that we've been getting. TCP port 22 is open for the SSH protocol. Port 80 is open for the protocol HTTP. Protocol 9929 is open, which is for the nping echo protocol. And the port 31337 is open, which is for the port elite. So essentially, this is the same results. What are protocols? Before we get into Nmap and ZenMap, it is important to know the basics first in order to understand how to use and read Nmap and ZenMap. A protocol is a set of rules that is used to communicate with other network devices. Protocols can also be used to manage a network or any device that can connect to a network. So before you start using ZenMap or Nmap, it is essential that you know what are protocols. And it's also important that you know what network ports, which is in the networking world, or when using Nmap and ZenMap, you will come across network ports. A network port is an address of a service or protocol. For example, HTTP is on port 80. This means that all the HTTP traffic will go to port 80 on your device. The one should really be using HTTPS for a secure connection. There are around 65,000 ports. I will now talk about the common protocols that are used in the networking world. So TCP is really common. It is a connection-oriented protocol where it allows devices and applications to exchange messages over a network. Many protocols are either UDP or TCP. So here we have an example where on device A, you send an SYN, which is like a hello packet, like saying hello to initiate a conversation with the other device. And once that device B receives it, it sends a hello back, and it also sends an acknowledgement for the hello that it received. And back on device A, it receives the SYN and acknowledgement packets, and that is when the session is established. The User Datagram Protocol, or UDP, it is a connectionless protocol where it allows devices and applications to exchange messages, voice, or over a network. It is usually faster than TCP since it doesn't have any overhead with it. If it fails to reach its destination, then it won't represent the packet like how TCP does. So you could say that like when you're watching Netflix or talking on the phone, UDP is being used since it's a really fast connection and it doesn't have to send the data back. The File Transfer Protocol, or FTP, is mainly used to send files from one machine to another. FTP is a very unsafe protocol since it sends data in clear text, meaning that intruder can easily steal the data. FTPS is more highly secure than FTP and is often used more. FTP is on port 21 and it's usually used at companies or at corporations sending files to another person or to another computer. But usually you would want to upgrade to FTPS since it's more secure and the data is more encrypted. Hypertext Transfer Protocol, or HTTP, is a protocol used to send text, images, sound, and video on the internet. HTTP is probably the most used protocol out there since we access the web almost every day. When you go to any website, you are using HTTP. HTTPS is becoming more popular to use since it is more secure than HTTP. Port 80 is where all HTTP data goes to. So when you go to a website such as google.com, you're essentially using HTTP or HTTPS. Secure Shell, or SSH, gives the user a secure way to remotely access a device that is in an unprotected network. All communications are encrypted, meaning intruders can't see the data in plain text. So it's really essential that you encrypt your data. That way the intruders or any hackers can't see any passwords or anything that you send through the internet. So Secure Shell is really highly recommended. Telnet is a network protocol used to log in into another device from your own device on the same network. Compared to SSH, Telnet gives you the ability to log in into another device, while SSH just encrypts data to and from a remotely login. Unfortunately, Telnet does not secure your communications and is often used by intruders to force themselves into the network. There are other protocols that can be used that are more secure. So as we can see in the image, it's logging in using Telnet. You log in using the IP address and I guess the device number at the end. And once you enter your password, you're connected to that device remotely. Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, or SMTP. When we send emails or receive emails, we are usually using the SMTP protocol. SMTP is usually found on port 25 and port 587. Organizations will typically try to secure this protocol and use SMTPS instead. It is the same as the SMTP protocol, but it is using TLS with it, which secures communications from and to from the servers. Domain Name System, or DNS, is a protocol that is widely used that we use daily. When we type in a website, DNS translates that into an IP address so that a computer can read it and retrieve that website. You can consider the DNS as a phone book or a translating book for the computer or device to use. Using the ping command retrieves the IP address of a website. So when we go to google.com, when you type in google.com, the computer goes to DNS for the translation of the IP address and it gives it back. So that's how DNS works. Using Nmap and Zenmap ethically. Nmap and Zenmap must be used ethically, meaning you can't use these applications for bad intent. Scanning or probing a network that doesn't belong to you can be illegal and unethical. Cybersecurity practitioners usually use these applications to make their networks more secure or to fix a networking problem. Unfortunately, many people use Nmap and Zenmap to probe a network that they don't have permission to and will want to cause some harm to the network, such as injecting malware or putting a Trojan horse if they know how to create a backdoor. The future and current use of Nmap and Zenmap has a good outcome since many in the cyber field use it to make their network secure. This is the end of the slideshow. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned a lot. Thank you.